Hey, Danny and the Booth Boys, do you think an artist can be successful without the ability to write a strong hook? You've alluded to now writing a hook first, and now I wanted to get your thought process behind that. 50s influence, possibly. Big fan of you in the show. Shouts out to Julius. There has been for me one of my favorite rappers is MF Doom, and he never had a hook in any of his songs. And I remember the first time hearing MF Doom, it was like, you can do that, like you could just write. But they were more so like I don't know, like it was like his novels. Like every song was like a book. But I do think if you want to be like a successful mainstream like pop artist, like you definitely have to have strong hooks,
And slowly that hook has kind of not been in less and less about like what like a rap song would be. Kind of elements of pop will come in as like your hook. Like all of a sudden some other singer comes in, just like that too.
Or hey, you can use that for your next song. Like just clip that sample.
Yeah, that one's sample free.
So how are your process? Do y'all start with the hook first, or is the idea and then?
It happens any number of ways. Usually, I would say it's that whatever idea it is that you're excited about, it could end up being a hook.
Mm-hmm.
It could end up being just a small element of the greater song. I think where the focus of what you're working on kind of shows itself as you get moving on it. I mean, you could do something that if you're excited about it and you're stoked on it, don't even worry about like what the hook element is.
Mm-hmm.
And then later on, maybe like you could emphasize something or maybe rework something like this is standing out to me more. What could I do to heighten that? I don't know. Or like,
I feel like for me, I feel like hooks have been like one of my, just not my strong point, So I would like, sometimes I would get like production that I would love, like, but I couldn't come up with a hook for it, so I wouldn't write a song to it. But now I got another process where I just write as much as I can to it, and just consistently just write, write, and then whatever I find a good part from that, and then I would take that out and make that the hook, and then build around that.
What's the most repeatable thing? What's the most like? What do I want to put an exclamation point behind?
Yeah, or what's like just the coolest sounding part? What's the part that's gonna stick because it's earworms, What's just gonna stick with the listener? What's gonna make them repeat it? If they hear it one time, then they can know it when the second refrain comes. So I just try to think about it from that point.
I think as long as you repeat it, it could be okay. You can just tell people what the hook is. It could be like a sample of a howitzer cannon going off. Like that's your hook. Just your radio is gonna blow up every 30 seconds.
But yeah, it is like good songwriting. Definitely the hook is the strongest part. If you don't have a good hook,
you have to get the song. You have to get the listener to listen to the song, and you have to lead. It's sort of like leading breadcrumbs, and the hook is a big part of that, right?
Yeah.
You can't overdo the hook because then the hook doesn't have the impact. So it's kind of like a puzzle. It's like the hook is important, and I think it's kind of a cool exercise of like, let's just try to come up with a hook and then build it around it. But sometimes the tricky part is like, how do you get the listener to the hook? And especially like in our genre of music, we're not always starting out with the chorus. It's very rare, And usually like for us, the chorus is when like it's typically when the hook happens, And so we're trying to get the listener from the intro to the chorus, and then develop the hook over the course of the song, and that's I think a really important part of it too.